Good morning, cousins, and welcome to another session of honest talk about women, where you'll learn tips, tricks, and strategies on how to navigate the minefields of dating and relationships. Don't forget to hit the like button, comment in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Today's session will be on dating a vegan. So just before we start on my date with a vegan, I have a English friend who's a bit of a heavyweight in the business world. He came from England to New Zealand, and he was involved in very big corporate restructures. And when you get a phone call or a text message from him, it's usually of something substance. So he's not a light talker, doesn't mince words either. So he texted me and said, let's catch up for a meeting. So we organised a meeting at a cafe. And when I walked into the cafe, there's this big book on the table, and it set me back because, you know, he's not a religious man. What is it, a Bible or something? But when I got closer, I saw the name of the book, and it was the China study. And it was, when I sat down, he said, "Scott, this book is for you." Which I was quite surprised. So basically, he had read the book and had become a vegan. And this is a meat-eating lover who loves his meat, grew up on those heavy foods in England, and has converted to vegetables and fruit only. So it was a surprise to me, and I said, yes, I'll take it home and I'll read it. And took it home. It was a big read. It's 900 pages, and I'm not, at this stage of my life, I'm not a big book reader, but I did read the book, and it was written by two well-educated people. One's got a PhD, the other one has a master's. So Colin Campbell, PhD, and Thomas Campbell, the second. It's always interests me when they put the numbers after someone's name in the United States. It's a bit like our honours system where you have sirs and madams, a different class of people. But anyway, he had an MD. So these people are very well educated in their particular field, and it was a very comprehensive study. And from memory, because this is going back some time, they did research in China and the United States, and is in the thousands of people, and they basically drew the conclusion that a lot of our health illnesses are related to the food that we eat, especially meat, and that to purify the body you should only eat vegetables and fruit. So having read the book, I thought, why not? I'll give it a go. The guy that gave it to me, I respect him wholeheartedly. So I gave it a go and was a vegan for 3 months. Yes, I felt a lot lighter, a lot more energy, and my body was able to process food a lot quicker. But I did miss my cravings for meat, especially fish and seafood. So I did, after 3 months, go back to my old ways and started to have some meat, but mostly fish and seafood. So that's just the background to the story. So on Bumble, I met a lady who was quite a big talker. In fact, you can tell if people talk a lot by the way they text message. If they text you 60 words that could be said in 3 or 4 words, that could be projected to their conversational style. And it was true to the deed. So I met this woman on Bumble, and she gave big long texts, and then we did the 3 to 5 minute phone call just to verify who she was. She's a real person, and she spoke my native tongue, English. So basically, my format for a date is do a brisk walk, about 1 kilometre, along the beach or through a park, and then if it's going well, you have a cup of coffee or a green tea afterwards, or she might want a wine or whatever. And the guy usually pays for it. That's my format. No more than $20. Very simple. Anyway, she suggested that we do this sort of walk that joins or goes across 2 beaches. So you walk along the beach, and then across the rocks, and then across another beach, and then do a loop and go back to where your car's parked and where the cafe is. And this is the first time ever I've ever been told or suggested by a person to do an extra long walk, because the walk was about 8 kilometres, and most times I only do a 1 kilometre walk or thereabouts on a first date, just to see how fit the person is, because I place a lot of emphasis on fitness and healthy body and so forth. So the day arrives to the date. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, and honestly, I did not prepare for the date well in terms of food intake. It was going to be a big walk, 8 kilometres, and I should have had some heavy carbs to burn through. But I don't eat breakfast. I usually eat between 11 and 5 to do the 18-hour fasting. And we started the walk, and God, could she talk? She was definitely a talker. She talked a lot. And we're both similar height. I'm 5'10", and she was similar. She was 5'10", but she had longer legs than me, and she had a good stride to her. And I knew I had to step a bit faster just to keep up to her. Anyway, we do the walk, and she's talking away, and then we get to the very steep part, the rocks and that. And it's always interesting, when you get to the very steep part, she goes, "Now tell me about your story, Scott." And when you're out of breath, you're about to take on a hill, the emphasis goes on you to tell your story, and you got to start telling the story while you're breathing furiously to keep up. But anyway, I told my story. Walked up the rocks, over the rocks, to the second beach, around a couple of streets, and back to the car again. And it was an 8 kilometre walk, and it was a fair distance walk for a first date. And she just took it in the stride. And this is the only girl I've ever come across that's been fitter than me on a date. I'm sure there's plenty of women out there that are fitter than me, but this is the only one I've ever dated that's fitter than me. Anyway, go to the cafe. And we order. I said, what do you want? And she orders a coffee. I have my green tea, and we're talking away. She's doing most of the talking. I'm listening. Then she starts to get onto her pet subject, and that's veganism. And she was very dogmatic about the being a vegan and the principles behind it. And it was really interesting because she was just telling me from her heart what she believed about animal cruelty. She was doing it from that angle, but also from a health perspective. And she was just talking non-stop, and I was just listening. And then I started to look at her purse, and her purse was a leather purse. And I started to focus on it quite a bit, maybe a bit too much. And then she stopped midstream in her talk and started to look at me and say, and then looked at her purse, then looked back at me and said, "Scott, no, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. It's vegan leather." And it's always interesting in life where people are very dogmatic about their principles, yet they contradict themselves. You always come across those people that spout good environmental practices, yet drive a big gas-guzzling SUV, or the politician that talks about family values but is having an extramarital affair, or the person that says buy everything local but is wearing a t-shirt made in China. So there's always people that contradict themselves. But anyway, she was defending herself. And after this walk, the time was getting on. It was coming up to lunchtime. I was hungry, in fact, I was really starving, and I needed something urgently, and I was on empty. So we parted company, and she drove off in her trendy retro Citroen car. And I hug and kisses goodbye. And then as she was leaving, there's only one thing on my mind, and that was, I've got to get food urgently. I'm starving. I'm absolutely starving. So I got in my car and I started to drive through the suburbs. And the first thing I saw was KFC. And I don't usually do KFC, but I just needed something solid urgently. And the speed that I moved into that car park and just parked my car anywhere, it's probably across a couple of white lines, marched into that store, said to the person, "Please, just give me the meal pack, the lunch pack, please, now." And the lady serving me prepared the food, gave it to me, and geez, did I wolf that food down maybe a little bit too quickly, but I needed something solid in my stomach to counter that big walk. And I was hungry, and I was just hoping she would not pass me in her trendy little Citroen car, seeing me in a meat eating place after preaching about being a vegan and how healthy it is. and the cruelty to animals if you should go outside that circle. So nothing came of that date, guys. We just weren't compatible. I find that certain people tend to overtalk, and guys aren't necessarily good listeners for people that tend to talk a lot. And occasionally you'll meet women that talk a lot, and it can become too much. People that talk. You've got to have silence too. So guys, as for my eating habits today, I am a pescatarian. That's a person who eats vegetables and fruit and fish and seafood. I mostly only eat salmon, and I love salmon, and you can get some really good deals at the local supermarket on salmon, and it's delicious with vegetables and or a fresh salad. So that's the only type of meat I eat today. You just do what else works for you out there, and at this stage in my life, this is what works for me. So until next time, take care, and don't forget to press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also comment in the comment section. And if you have any stories you have on dating women that you'd like to share with viewers, please email me on the contact email below. Thank you.